morning and welcome to today's edition of Newspaper Today on Osbc TV. I am Adeniyi On today's edition of Newspaper Today, we'll be starting review of headlines from the Daily Times newspaper this morning. NAS NLC clash. Adamawa LG shares spoonful of rice to residents as palliatives. Niger school closed due to insecurity to be reopened. Rivers APC and Tinubu's appointment. IATA slams FG over 27 different airport charges. Still on the Daily Times newspaper this morning, federal allocations, impeachment logs for suspended Ogun LG boss. Moving on to the Vanguard this morning, Nigeria's accounts for 30% global malaria burden, Minister. MTN raises concern over vandalism of sites infrastructure in Southeast. IGP declares killer of DPO Bako in Rivers wanted. Still on the Vanguard newspaper, forest scarcity sends naira tumbling to 930 naira per US dollars. Still on the Vanguard, $600 million trapped funds. Tinubu directs CBN to meet foreign airlines. Insecurity. Niger to reopen 11 public schools closed in 2021. Academic records. We graduated in Chicago Varsity in 1979. Tinubu's classmate speaks out. Now in the Punch newspaper this morning, ASU parents protest as more varsities hike fees. Prevail on universities to reverse fee increase. PTA tells Tinubu fears mass dropout. Still on the Punch newspaper, Libya floods kill 6,000 victims buried in mass grave. Land grabbers violent return to Lagos, leave traces of blood and death. One feared killed as flood works havoc in Lagos estate. Naira weakens to 950 per dollar, forest scarcity worsens. And still on the Punch newspaper, FG predicts heavy rainfall, flooding in 48 towns. Slain soldiers. Over 6,000 family members to get insurance claims. Now moving on to the front page of the Leadership newspaper this morning. Wike blocks leakages. Flags of 15 billion naira road project in FCT. Still on the Leadership this morning, APC, PDP, Labour Party, NNPP jittery as Judgment Day inches closer. Bago unveils Niger State Green Economy Blueprint. CBN dispels rumors of Naira redenomination. I have cordial relationship with Uzodinma, Abbas said this morning. Moving on to Business Day. The front pages of Business Day newspaper this morning. Petrol imports drops amid higher oil prices. Abuja, Lagos among airports with highest charges in Africa, IATA. Tuition hike worsen. Tuition hike worries lingers as student loan drags. Markets await CBN's guidelines for FA backing clearance. And those are the stories that made it to the Business Day this morning. Moving on to Nigerian Tribune this morning. NIN passport crisis. FG moves NIMC to Interior Ministry. Reps deny collecting 100 million palliative. Still on Nigeria Tribune this morning. What my year as ambassador taught me, Awolowo Dosunmu. Proceeds of kidnapping used to finance terrorism answer. Still on Nigeria Tribune this morning, Nigeria ranks highest in airport charges in Africa. Abuja, Lagos airport top list. 13 states at risk of flood, NEMA warns. And lastly on Nigeria Tribune this morning, 6,000 dead in Libya flood. And moving on to Sporting Sun this morning, Real Madrid plot 2024 move for 200 million euros Osimhen. Still on Sporting Sun, Saka has nagging injury since last January. And in the Daily Sun newspaper this morning, reps NLC clash over 100 million palliatives. Proceeds of kidnapping used to finance terrorism answer. 42 bidders win gas flare commercialization license. And still on Daily Sun this morning, NANS UNILAG students resume protest over fee hike. And in the Daily Independent this morning, Nigeria's higher education landscape needs total overhaul, Minister. Proceeds of kidnapping being used to finance terrorism answer. Still on Daily Independent this morning, this story is largely written on the front page. FG asks CBN to meet airlines quarterly to resolve FX crisis. Student kicks as OAU jacks up fees by 300%. Sanwo-Olu swears in 37 cabinet members reads Riot Act. Still on Daily Independent, 42 firms emerge successful bidders for Nigerian flare site development. And going on to the Guardian this morning, high prices push government homes beyond average Nigerians reach. SCID panty how not to investigate deter criminals. And still on the Guardian, $800 million stock funds. Federal government directs CBN to settle foreign airline backlogs. 6 years after Nigerian awards 49 gas flare sites to 42 investors. And still on the Guardian newspaper, Kano suspend another Casco director for alleged palliative diversion. And in the New Telegraph this morning, the New Telegraph has the following stories. FG to grant tax holiday to new airlines orders. NLC claims of 100 million palliative for lawmakers a lie, reps. NYC member kidnapped in Delta this morning. And moving on, lastly on the Nation newspaper this morning, NEMA alert flood to pound 50 communities in 13 states. NIMC moved to Interior Ministry to speed up passport insurance. Employers reject NLC plan to shut down economy. And on this note, I welcome my guest on today's program, Mr. Kayode Adebisi. Thank you for joining us on this show.
Thank you for inviting me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Starting with the Nation newspaper this morning, employers reject NLC's plan to shut down economy.
Well, the best thing is to settle their issues between them, because if the matter is not settled amicably, and the NLC, if they follow the due process of embarking on note on strike, then they have the right to embark on strike. So it's not enough for the employer reject. They should do the needful. These things of a strike is becoming too incessant, too frequent. And when the economy is not moving, when people are crying of the high prices of goods and services, if anybody now down to, you can imagine the more than multiple jeopardies that we follow. So they should engage themselves, and the NSC should also be reasonable enough, going by the general trend of economy in the country and all over the world.
Okay, thank you for that. And on Voice of Liberty this morning, this story is almost on all pages of newspaper this morning. Proceeds of kidnapping being used to finance terrorism. Answer.
Well, when you look at kidnapping, it's a business. So whatever they get from their various activities, they want to equip themselves. They will look for more weapons. They will look for more technological devices with which they will perpetrate their business. So it is now for the government of the day and other well-meaning Nigerians, even the populace, to gear up their efforts in embarking on the counter-insurgency methods, activities that will make sure that they are brought down to their knees.
So thank you for that. And on the Guardian newspaper this morning, high prices push government homes beyond average Nigerians reach. Government homes are supposed to be very cheap for average Nigerians to be able to afford.
Because government itself, what is the capacity of the government in production? Most of the things we use to produce goods in Nigeria, they are materials that are being imported, and you pay on foreign exchange and currency, very high currency, until we are able to develop our own economy, until we are also able to empower our local investors. Not too much reliance on the foreign investors, at the end of the day, will not make all the effort of the government to be feasible as expected. So governments will look inward on how to gear up the local industry and the local investors, give them the necessary incentives.
Okay. And on Daily Independent this morning, students kick as OAU jacks up fees by 300%.
Ordinarily, it was the UNILAG that started it.
Yes.
And the primary duty of the government, welfare of the people. Education is part of the welfare. All these monies that have been saved from the subsidy, every reasonable Nigerian expect that they should have at least invested heavily in education and health, which will benefit the common men and women in the society. So it is not realistic for you to say you are going to 300%. If I thought you are going to increase, you have the student union, you have other platforms. Engage them first. Look, this is what is happening. Let them know. Don't do something just like a fire brigade approach anyhow, like a coup. Just wake up one day, you have increased. Most of you also, lecturers, you have children there. Yes. Conveniently, you are able to pay because you ask for the increase in salary. But what are the sons and daughters of peasant farmers and those people that are even sponsoring themselves? They don't have people that are sponsoring them. So how do you expect them to cope? If they cannot cope, you are saying that you are going to drop for their education. If they are dropping for their education, they have the effect on society because they can be engaged in other or wholesome activities. So the students will continue to protest. The universities will see the reason to come to their level and engage them. And the federal government, we said all these institutions should be self-financing, should have a rethink about that policy because it's going to backfire.
Okay, thank you so much. And moving on to Daily Sun this morning, reps NLC clash over 100 million naira palliatives. The reps have come out this morning to deny the allegation.
Well, even if they are given 100 million palliative, what would the NLC do? NLC will focus on making for the demands of their own workers.
Okay.
Because we know the Nigerian politicians, there is no way they will continue to deny. Arguing 100 million, no, that is not the issue that will solve the problems on grant. Demand for your welfare, even you can even give government the platform that they can use to tackle the multi-dimensional problems facing Nigerians. Instead of going to the press 100 million, what of even the NSC members? If they are accused that some of them collected money, Can we totally deny that, knowing Nigerian factor? So the Nigerian politicians, the way they are, they will continue to deny. So make reasonable demands and engage the government positively. That's what you are expected to do.
Okay, the NLC are expected to make reasonable demands. And Nigeria Tribune this morning, there has been a warning. It says 13 states at risk of flood. NEMA warns.
We have seen even the advanced country, they have been having flood. They have been talking of the greenhouse effect, this idea of the industrial world not respecting the law of the space, the amount of the gases you have to release, your industrial facility to the air. So, but in their own space there, they have the where with that, they have the strength and the plans. When you commit any offense like that, they will sanction you. So, if there is any occurrence of the flood, immediately government will respond with necessary relief materials, and in some cases, because they also have the plan on ground, the plan of the the town planning, where are you supposed to build here, how do the people dispose their refuse, all those things, they don't have problem about that in the advanced country, because those are the contributing factors to this issue of flood. And over the years, maybe people have not been made examples, government have not been enforcing that environmental law. You see it occurring day in, day out. And most of our houses, they are not planned. Even in the urban area, you see the FCT minister now demolishing some structures. Those are the things that cause a flood, artificial problem, not even natural sometimes. So I think the government should be more responsible, and the society too. They should gear up to cooperating with the government. Where the government have done right, they should not destroy it.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, on NIN passport crisis, federal government moves NIMC to Interior Ministry. Do you see this solving the issue of passport collection?
First and foremost, on daily basis, Nigerians are looking for international passports. Yes. Not necessarily, most people, they don't know that international passport does not mean I want to travel out. You can use it for so many other purposes. Even when you want to register, we say bring your national ID card or international passport. So many things, and your fingerprint is already recorded. So a lot of information are being recorded when you are registering for international passport. So government should rather decentralize, not just moving into Interior Ministry. Apart from moving into Interior Ministry, let us have every state have the office where you can get this international passport. At least depending on the population. You can have 10 in some states, you can have 5, you can have 20. So that people will not go to a particular place to go and get this international passport. Pay money for maybe 332 pages, and now they give you 20 pages. Because according to the amount you paid, that's the number of pages you will be given in international passport. So government should make it less stressful and to decentralize it to other places.
Okay, thank you. And the leadership newspaper this morning, Wike blocks leakages, flags of 15 billion naira road project in FCT, and is to rehabilitate 135 roads, rules out contract variation.
Well, when you say Wike block leakages, we have civil servants, we experience permanent secretaries. It should rather be saying that these people, they assist him in knowing the leakages. Although you have been governor in Rivers State, but that place is a new terrain entirely. So whether there is leakage or no leakage, you cannot remove the hand of the civil servants from it, because they are the ones that we put into effect the policy of government. So it's a good development, but more needs to be done. There will be occasional and periodic review of the IGR making of the government, where the money are coming in and out, so that you will know whether the leakages is being effective or have been even jeopardized by some unscrupulous elements. So as for the project, well, you should be very careful, because so many people are complaining that their houses, their structure have approved plans, and at the same time you still went ahead to destroy. If it is true, demolish the property that have been approved, then they can sue for damages, and that will also cause government more debts. So some government debts are already on ground that yet to be paid. So they should be very careful and very meticulous in their approach. Okay. So this idea of demolishing structures.
Okay, thank you. And moving on to the Punch newspaper this morning. Slain soldiers. Over 6,000 family members to get insurance claim.
That's very painful, because when you lose your loved one, maybe at the very unripe age, and most of them they are still very young, children 3, 4 sometimes. So how are they going to cope? And you know Nigerian Falcon, when they are given these severe packages, there will not be any other benefits again. So how do we encourage others to join a Nigerian force, any other force for that matter? So there are so many people that have died, they did not collect any penny from their entitlements. And these politicians, they will basically giving themselves money, approve money for themselves. But when it comes to people that are actually working, showing patriotism, some of them will sweat before they get the peanuts. So this is not encouraging. But at the same time, I salute the Mr. President, because for the first time, he said with immediate effect that they should be paid. That means the person that knows what is on the hits on grant.
Okay. Mr. President has done well with that. And still on the Punch newspaper this morning, Libya floods kills 6,000 victims. Libya floods kills 6,000 victims buried in massive graves. What does this tell Nigerians ahead of the flood warning we've been getting?
Well, if you look at India, is the most populated country in the whole world, even beyond China. They are growing on a daily basis. So when there is no control on population growth, most of the people that die now, they are in the rural of the rural area. So more or less just be organizing a shelter like a wood, something like that, just to enter and sleep. So they are sleeping in the dead zone area, because the area, when you look at topography, is flooded area already. So it's a matter of time. And because there is nowhere, there are people they call homeless people. They are homeless, and they got the government on ground that is democratic. Government should have taken care of the welfare ahead of the rainy season in particular. So also any other countries, that's the same thing that is happening.
Okay. So finally, on today's edition of Newspaper Today, on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Nigeria accounts for 30% global malaria burden. Minister.
That's a serious signal. We have 30% of global malaria burden. That means our health system has collapsed. That means people are not being fed well, no money to buy qualitative food. So most of these things are caused by poverty. And you know malaria, people just think that let me just buy a drug in the pharmacies and it's good. They don't know what is a comprehensive language. It entails a lot of things to your system. So people will not know that they have damaged their own system through self-medication before they now consulted a doctor. So there is need for government to invest heavily on health system and to train the health personnel and give them incentives. All this idea of people going to abroad, medical doctor, nurse every year, we have effect on our health system and the people.
Okay, thank you for that. And on this note, the government are advised to keep our health sector very active. And I also thank my guest on this show today, Mr. Adeniyi.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
For showing up this morning. Till I come your way next time, join us tomorrow for another edition of Newspaper Today. I am Adeniyi Adebayo. Good morning.